Hello, CRPHA has got a new topic here. It's not political. It's not non-political. In many ways, it is non-political, but it's humanitarian. It's a humanitarian situation here, or topic really. And I'm gonna do it without my shades here. Okay. For many centuries, mankind has flourished in many, many positive and many, many negative ways, many of which were logical, and many of which were not logical, nor were they reasonable or realistic for that matter. And it goes along with the fact of, like, for example, the Revolutionary War could have easily been resolved without killing. Many wars could easily be solved without killing. Many situations, topics, issues matter, all sorts of political, non-political issues, situations, matters, what have you, can be resolved in way more logical steps and ways than mankind has even put in the mind. Of course, this is said even nowadays for what's known now as womankind. And mainly, of course, many men would say womankind in the sense of what? Relationships? Many different things equal to the male gender, mankind, and womankind need to learn to resolve things logically, reasonably, realistically, and without harm to anybody. There will be harm on one aspect, but that's more within the heart, emotionally and psychologically. That can be resolved. But when it comes to harm among, if one harms another, doesn't matter if you're a male harming a woman, or if a woman's harming a male, or if a man's harming another man, or if a woman's harming another woman. That right there is not permitted in in the logistics and what is seen as reasonable, logical, and also to where there's no harm done, physical harm done to anybody. And which basically goes into the fact that humanity has been way beyond savage. Ever since the Revolutionary War and even wars beyond that have thought that killing and destroying one another and even landmarks and what have you is a way to resolve many different things and issues and matters and what have you. Our Heavenly Father would not agree with that. And I'm speaking spiritually on that one. But logically, nor would Spock. And I'm not talking Dr. Spock as the so-called well-renowned psychologist or doctor or whatever the hell that has written a book, if not maybe more than one. I'm talking about the Live Long and Prosper Spock from Star Trek, the original. movies and The Next Generation. We have both the basis of humanity has known of many unlethal ways, but has not given those non-lethal ways a logical, realistic chance. Even in today's world, and the days of even before Desert Storm, and before 9/11, and before Vietnam, Korea, what have you. Humanity is only shown only one thing: stupidity, mostly on that aspect. It doesn't matter if it doesn't show real, true strength to anybody on any level and for any reason. Just because you have a heavier arsenal or a more extensive arsenal of weaponry, what have you. What does show that you're very intelligent and logical, and what humanity should go by, even if society doesn't believe so. I don't really care about society anyway, because society doesn't really decide what happens in our own lives. Anyways, we decide that for ourselves. Although society tries to butt in anyway. It has been said more than one time in each different century that within humanity and what's known to be as the human condition, that killing is instinctive. It may be instinctive, but one thing. It can that particular negative instinct can easily be fought and put in towards a positive way, a positive manner, positive ways of going about things. And also, when it comes to showing mercy, that's one thing mankind, man and womankind, be that, of course, humanity all in one, has to learn more of in order to show that you're a peaceful, loving, caring being, if you want to put it that way, that it's better to not harm one another, regardless if you disagree with their points, values, thoughts, beliefs, what have you else. Show respect and consideration, understanding in the sense of mercy by not harming anybody, no matter what. Okay, and also there the aspect of humanity has also been savage in the sense when it comes to discrimination of race, color, ethnicity, backgrounds, beliefs as well, on that one as well. Like for example, many people have a hard time to accept the fact that not all have the same thought, understanding, and knowledge and belief within a large number of situations, issues, topics, matters, what have you else. The basic fact is that humanity learns in its own pace. Each person has their own ways of learning and exceed and basically excelling, but it starts within you. It doesn't start, it doesn't come from anywhere else or anybody else. There are people who can teach things, but it's the person who has the base of understanding it in their own way, which basically also a number of people need to realize and accept the fact that people do have a different ways of understanding things and a different generalization of a, shall we say, we don't learn, not very many people learn as quick as others. Not very many people understand things as quick as others may have. It doesn't matter who's teaching it, who's explaining it, or what have you. It will still repeat that same logic and fact that nobody's gonna be saying, "Oh, okay, I understand," when they are still kind of putting the puzzle pieces, if you will, within their minds to better understand it within themselves and for themselves. But of course, when it comes to race and color, that there goes the base of judgment and hatred. Mankind will not excel if that continues. Mankind didn't, man and womankind, be that of course humanity hasn't realized that even after the Martin Luther King march and protest. Many women obviously don't realize that even with the reason of what the ERA has done for them to show humanity and society that women are as equal as the male gender. Therefore, the women have equal rights and freedoms as equal to the male gender. But of course, as I've said before, I've noticed that many women, and I'm not going to say all again, but many women have used the very base of what the ERA's true intent was for for what they did for many women at that point in time and in the 1970s all the way, and they did that for the women of the 1980s and the 1990s and beyond. But yet, many women, like I said, have used it in their own way to benefit them only. And yet it benefits all women. And it benefits women in the most logical way, not the way that fits each separate woman. Because that's not the reason why the ERA did what they did. But it's based on the basis of race and color. Each of us are Heavenly Father's children. It doesn't matter if we're if we're like Iranian, Hispanic, uh, Italian, German, Swedish, American, white, basic Caucasian, brown, African American, any number of racial and color based of what society and various numbers of people judge others upon and for, and what they consider to be a reason for the judgment, which is still not logical. The base with all that, though, is that ever since the 1950s and 60s, humanity hasn't totally grasped the concept of equality. I mean, how even today, humanity hasn't even grasped the base of equality. That's why there's been so many freaking wars. If we can't accept for who we are and how others are, on a positive level, not the negative, if you can't accept a person for what they believe and their ancestral backgrounds or ethnic or cultural backgrounds and their beliefs and understandings and what have you else, then you're not really being a very logical human being. Therefore, you're not also not being respectful and very caring. You may be caring to the ones that you accepted over the years, but there's more than one human being in various different races, ethnicities, cultures, and what have you. Each one, each and every one has the right to be treated equally as you would treat, say, your mother, father, friend, wife, and sister, brother, with all base of respect. Same thing with the base of respect of and understanding when it comes to your aunts and uncles as well, among others outside the family circle. And of course, humanity has definitely grasped the base of human prejudice. Human prejudice has seemed to be the norm for humanity, but that can be changed. You don't want to be prejudiced for any reason in any way. When it comes to obese, when it comes to muscular, slender, skinny, thin, whatever, but not too thin, not bony thin, of course. You need to accept the person for who and how they are. If they're comfortable for the way they are, accept that and respect. There are many concepts when it comes to basis of fake and real. When it comes to one that we don't view as part of humanity, be that of course being actual human, that's a base of racial discrimination. Doesn't and it's basically discrimination in by itself, really. Everybody needs to stop doing that as well. Be that humanity needs to learn to stop that shit too. And of course, it hasn't happened too much to my recollection and knowledge, really, but um, there has been even before the Revolutionary War and possibly beyond that where many people have been judged as being misplaced when it comes to where people don't believe or feel that they belong where the person has a right to be at. But of course, as long as it's within the law. If it's within the law, then the person has every God-given right to be in the U.S., in France, in Germany, wherever the hell they're at. So nobody really needs to be removed from anywhere where they feel comfortable and happy and content at. Just because any group of people mm, may have a dislike or racial discrimination or dislike for them, you know, for any reason, which basically, again, that discrimination crap needs to stop as well. Still, the base of humanity has been created for many, many reasons and in many, many ways that are 100% positive. But of course, and when it comes to even when it comes to race and backgrounds, ethnicity, what have you else, the base of creation is not going to be. It's not always going to be the ones that we may or may not agree with, or like or dislike. It's the thing that we must learn to accept. And also when it comes to spirituality, many believe many different things. And there are some even nowadays that don't believe anything spiritual or what have you. But the basic fact is that many people need to accept one's belief and non-belief, and understanding the understanding of spirituality. Because everybody, even on there, is not going to say, "Oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, you're right," when they know within themselves that they don't believe or feel the same way that the other person is. That's not the way to be. You need to be exactly exactly who and how you are. If you believe a certain thing that that one other person, or however many people don't believe in, you can easily accept it, but they need to also accept the fact that you believe differently, regardless if they may like it or not. We are all human beings. You need to accept the person for who and how they are, regardless of belief and understanding and knowledge and everything else. There is a negative part to humanity that has been done to many people over the course of more than 50 years, and that is mental manipulation, mental and physical and psychological manipulation. And the reason for that is because mostly, more often than not, really, that it's been done to that one person, if not more than one person. Therefore, they find it to be acceptable, and therefore they feel that it's and have and basically learn essentially that it's learned to be accepted by humanity and society to manipulate others logically and realistically. It's not acceptable. It's never been acceptable to do any type of manipulation to anybody, man, woman, child, dog, cat, doesn't matter. Although manipulation has been used in the most negative ways beyond what I just said. It goes to the point of where one starts believing the other person in the sense of fear, Therefore, the more the person sees fear in the other person, that one person that's putting the fear into that one person is unrealistically and illogically motivated in the most illogical and non-realistic of ways and reasons. And that also goes to the points of where, regardless if the person believes the same thing that you or anybody else believes, that's the aspect of obedience, is that they have to believe everything that you believe in, and which basically ignore the fact that they have rights and freedoms in believing and knowing what they know and believe in, which basically is not a logical way of treating others, nor is it realistic. No matter what your thoughts and reasons and speculative baloney is on that or any subject matter. And also, it goes into exploiting others in the most negative way. And deprivation, you know, not deprivation, but the the let me see. Anyways, the whole concept here is that each and every part of mankind and womankind needs to learn the positive and step away from the negative. Um, when you exploit any number of people, be that children, in a negative way, because there's no real positive, especially when it comes to children or any other human being, when you exploit them for any particular so-called reason. It's not logical. It will never be logical. Because each and every one of us are innocent and we deserve to be respected and accepted and treated as equals. The, see, when it comes to spirituality, of course, is that nobody really knows what our Heavenly Father really accepts and doesn't accept. Many people have had the mindset of acclimating within themselves and within their own minds of what they believe he would or would not accept. When when logically we don't truly know. Regardless if it what's in the Bible, we don't truly know. We can learn from the Bible, which is a positive. We can learn from the Book of Mormon or whatever book your religious background, your religion goes by. But the basic fact is, in all logic, we truly don't know what he will and will not accept. He himself will tell us, though, in time. And I'm not going on the base of non-spiritual belief or belief in general. The basic fact is that everybody has their own understanding and thought of what one spiritual being will and will accept. I mean, will not and will accept, essentially, especially when it comes to doing various numbers of things to others, regardless of the reason, especially, and even to ourselves. The supernatural is seen in many different forms, different venues, ways, depicted, understandings, what have you. Everybody has their own. But the fact of it is that not very many people accept it, and they need to learn to in order to truly accept the person. It doesn't matter who the hell it is. It is not logical to displace a person's understanding of any number of things. Even when it comes to the supernatural, or even if they believe in superstitions, that's their own right. If they believe in any number of superstitions, the basic fact is that superstitions are just that. They're not real. They're not really factual. The only way they will be real is within the mind, which basically is also controlled by our vision is controlled by the mind. Therefore, if our mind believes it's there, our 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 eyes will help visualize it in the best way possible. That goes within the understanding of any number of things. And if one can accept the person's understandings, beliefs, and everything else, then they can also accept the person's aspect of change. Because everybody changes thoughts, beliefs, understandings in any point of our lives. Not always the same as everybody else, though. That's one thing. And the other thing is, when it comes to humanity involving itself into or mankind essentially, man and womankind involving itself into a less developed less developed civilization that maybe way, shall we say, way in the past per se, and say we may consider the U.S. to be way ahead of its time or way ahead of every other country or civilization. Um, the basic fact is that if we interfere, no matter how well intended it can and has shown it can be and is disastrous is because one, if we even if they say, okay, can you help us through, that's one. But the basic fact is that there's a comfort level, right? There is a comfort level. And we don't want to go past any civilization's comfort level, regardless of how well intended it may or may not be. Because there's always a limit and a line that we must not cross. Because if we cross that continuously, no matter how well intended, it can backfire in the most horrific way. Whenever a person's rights and freedoms are trodden on, believe me, you've heard the word in the sense of payback. In short, the results can be disastrous. If we submit to the liberal Democrats, for example, if you want to go politically, because they don't have any true understanding of what real logic and what real life is, and real respect and consideration and understanding is, which basically I would call the leftist liberal Democrats evil. Therefore, if we submit to their way, we are ignoring ourselves and our beliefs and our rights and our understandings and much, much more. Therefore, we're submitting ourselves into their ways of thinking. Not a good thing. Of course, in many ways, and so-called illogical reasons, well, basically not so-called illogical, but actual or so-called logical reasons, but really illogical and non-realistic reasons. Torture has been the cornerstone, if you will, of trying to extract information within the human condition. Well, of course, this is within humanity and the human condition. It's always believed. It's been always a belief within humanity itself that torture is the way to extract information, be that from a foe, enemy, whatever you want to call it, or anybody else for that matter, even if they're not your true enemy. But the basic fact is that torture becomes self-defeating. Therefore, we we eventually at some point within our lives try to put ourselves in that one person's shoes, even if we don't really intend to. It does happen eventually. Then we start feeling sorry for the person of why it was done and for what reason. But yet, we may find it acceptable and logical then. We will not, months, days to years after, even centuries after. course, it goes also into when it comes to torture, that comes into the aspect of mental psychological control over another, in which the Democrats are trying to do to the American people, again politically. Regardless, it's that also is a negative, and that also needs to be out of the base and belief of humanity. And the concept of humanity to do that to anybody, doesn't matter how many people or to any number of persons, or be that, of course, gender and whatever else. Don't even do that to children, because if anybody did that to children, I'd fucking kick their butts. There is something known as the human equation. And enslaving others for personal purposes or reasons, also an illogical action, no matter what the so-called thought and so-called logical reasons for. That also needs to be taken out of the human condition, the base of humanity. That also needs to be fought. Humanity does need to do one positive thing. And that is simply learn to better ourselves from within to start, which basically gradually builds us up psychologically and emotionally. And therefore, we can also help people do the same thing for themselves if they are not sure how to go about it. But we need to do it not to where we believe that they should do it, but the way they feel comfortable for and how to for themselves, because each one has a different comfort level, even on that. And that also needs to be accepted and understood. Many people have talked about first contact with other species. And also, many people have assumed that they've been abducted by aliens. Many people have claimed to be probed by aliens. Logically, there's no real logical fact of, and even if extraterrestrials have actually visited the planet without our knowledge and knowing. There may have been so-called sightings, but those sightings could easily be just flickers of light, looking like flying saucers, the unknown. The true unknown is still out there. It's still out in the galaxy, in which Roddenberry has shown within his own vision of the future and what can still be our future, but we need to do many of the positives. And I'll mention that in a minute. I'm back. It is said that the more we believe in something of the unknown that's not really truly there, of course, many people are going to call you crazy, nutty, psychotic, um, imaginative, which is also, but of course, that imaginative is positive, but also people can kind of direct that as a negative. Um, but I one thing many people do not realize, even those that believed in the fact that they were encountered in some respect by aliens, the basic fact is, as I said, in the aspect of the mind, which also can be controlled, we can also control the ways of sight. Many people do that just for. Many people have said people do that just for attention because they're alone, depressed, saddened for any number of reasons, wanting human contact for any given reason. I mean, they're practically hundreds, if not thousands. But the basic fact is that it's good to have an imagination. It is not good to stretch it out to the points of non-realism. And here's another one. Many people believe, even in today's world, and we're supposed to be so well advanced, beyond the times of the 50s, 60s, 40s, 20s, 30s. Um, we're supposed to be so intelligent in a millennium. Yet we've been following the same trait as the 50s, 60s, all the way up through the 80s and 70s and what have you. And that concept of wealth doesn't make us better, doesn't make us really, truly richer or happier. Because money you cannot bring with you to the afterlife. Money you cannot say, okay, well, let's see, if I were to be dead in a coffin and have money covering my corpse, I still have it well with heaven, with our heavenly Father or God, as it were. The basic fact is that that's not true because the money would gradually dissolve over your body, the human body, as as your body itself dissolves over time. So the concept of wealth, even in today's world, is not logical. Nor does it make anybody better or more important than anybody else. I know many people still think it does, but logically, it just makes you believe that when really you are kidding yourself. Therefore, also you're lying to yourself on that one too. And those who know that you have money only are around you for that one particular reason, the dollar bill. They're not there for you. They're not there to be true friends with you. They're there because of this. Once you run out of this, then they're off trying to live their lives and find other people who have this, loads and loads of money. Because other people who are on that mindset don't really care about the person. They don't have any true understanding and respect for the person. When that goes into play. There's many positive things that each and every one of us can do in the positive way and manner, and many people have ignored it. Many people have not known the true way to go about it. Thereby, they've been only going by people who believe that they know the right way to do it, when basically all these theorists that people go to, like, how do I improve myself? Like when people go into these psychics or tarot card readers or palm readers. In order to really improve yourself, you need to believe that you can within yourself. And the way to do that is to love yourself and to love others around you and care about and care about yourself and others around you, starting with family and friends, true friends, that is. Only then, and yes, it'll happen. It happens in various and gradual steps. It doesn't happen overnight. And it'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't logically and realistically. As I've said on this particular matter, or this particular topic, this part of the topic anyway, I should say. Um, in order to truly do this, in the sense of improving yourself, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, to start with, is always think positive, vocalize positive, feel many positive emotions and feelings for yourself and within yourself and for others. Then, over time, you will gradually see you are able to improve yourself a step at a time. Humanity can do the same damn thing. Humanity needs to believe in itself. Be that, of course, humanity being both men and women. And it can easily go from the youth as well. It can start from being very young as well. Okay, this particular one has been asked. Even to many preachers, um, back to bishops and what have you, even in prayer, what is the true purpose? What is your true purpose in life? Is there a purpose and is there a purpose of why I'm here, or is there a purpose of why I'm here, or should I mean basically is there a purpose that I need to acknowledge, to view, to see, to reach for, you know, all sorts of nifty things there. Everybody has a purpose, and it's not a negative. It's always going to be a positive. No matter what negative happens in your life, you can build yourself within yourself positively, logically. You know, of course, like I said, still gradually. And yes, everybody has a purpose in life, and it's not a negative. You, which basically here's one aspect. Many people believe or have been taught ways of treating people. More often than not, it's negative. And there are some that are taught in a positive way, like. But those who are taught in the positive exceed faster than others, and can if they haven't already. Those who believe in the fact that it's accepted to deprive others of many things, be that their freedom, rights, basic equality, all sorts of different things. That right there is not a positive. That right there is manipulative. So the basis of your purpose is always positive. It's never negative. Your purpose is a human being's purpose is not to make another person's life a living fucking hell. A human being's purpose is not to make another, even your own child's, a living hell to the point to where they have to go by your ways of thinking, your ways of understanding things, and your ways of whatever else. Because if you do that, you're not really being true to yourself and you're lying to yourself if you think that's acceptable. Therefore, also, you're negatively affecting a person that didn't do shit to you. There is another aspect to it, though, too, and that is simply that if you are a true caring human being, which I believe that everybody is and can be, it is generally gone to where to where many people believe, oh, if I do this, what I feel to be acceptable, when really it's not. And you know it's been done to you in the most negative of ways. Um, you're not really benefiting anybody, not even yourself. You're not even doing anything positive for yourself either. You're not even helping in any way by by treating this your child, be that son or daughter, or anybody else for that matter, even outside the circle of the family, with the most disrespect and mental manipulative, psychological manipulative ways and manners. Just because it was done to you does not mean that you have the right to do it to others. It's sad when negative things are done to others, especially when it comes to verbal and psychological and emotional things, all in one. But it doesn't give the person that it was done to do it to others. And the person should realize that if and when it is done to you, do not repeat the same damn thing, no matter what, to anybody or even against anybody. Because it's not going to solve a damn thing. It's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help you. It's not going to make you feel any better. It's not going to make you look any better either. And also, if you want to be a true, loving, caring parent, and even show that you are and prove that you are continuously to your child or anybody else, you need to get that negativity that was done to you out of your mind and out of the base of thinking where you thought that it's acceptable by society itself when it's not. And go by emotional, psychological, mental positive levels. And it doesn't go like, well, I was taught this, and yet it made my life a living hell. But I found it to be accepted by society. If you think that you're not being true to yourself or others. So no matter if any negative thing like be that emotional, mental, and psychological was done to you that's negative, don't do it to anybody, not even your own child. And also, there's another one too, and I'm reading it right here, and that is simply in the same concept. of the negativity situation. What I read in this thing here, that children who learn to devalue, aka disrespect, show major loads of dishonesty, major loads of any number of emotional and psychological positive, non-positives, which is 100% negatives, in the sense of devaluing one. If you teach a child how to devalue others, or even if you teach anybody how to devalue anybody, any number of people, or any groups of people, doesn't matter if it's race, creed, what have you else, they can and more than quite possibly will devalue you. They can devalue their parents as well as their friends and future and possible current family members. And also, they can easily devalue themselves. So, do not show or teach anybody, youth of any age, or anybody at any age, of how to devalue anyone for any reason. Just because it was done to you, especially, do not do it to others. Because you're not benefiting anything or anybody by doing it. It is also said that the concept and base of time is not a vulture. One that picks at you, at every second of your life. Time can be and utilized as one that helps you through, that guides you through many difficulties in your life, many positive things in your life, especially. And it can easily help you to get to those positive things and through those positive things. And then it can easily help you through to get rid of the negative crap that has or is happening. Basically both, especially to you and within your life. And yes, even that can be done on gradual steps, even though we may not like that. But the basic fact is that we can't expect things to go like that. And then all the negative things would be, non-existent. It doesn't work that way in reality, nor does it work in that way in actual life itself. Okay, last but not least, of course, there's one other one I'm going to look into, and I may mention it in a different topic. which basically I may mention about this topic. That, okay, the last one here is the fact that in one aspect is to start with, both man and womankind can better itself in the most immense positive ways. Ones that the ways that humanity itself has not truly taken the time to focus on, even to go towards. And this can also better you and various numbers of other people, both male and female, and also can help better our youth, especially in the educational aspect. In fact, that's how it starts. Many things that happen even to us can be a learning experience, both positive and negative alike. But the basic fact is that between the two, we have to weigh out many things in many different ways. Whether it's the right way to be and the right way to go within our lives and within ourselves, or if it's not, and the way to divert or detour ourselves away from the negative, or the positive that may even lead to a negative, or the negative that can easily lead to a positive. But of course, many people that think that negative can lead to a positive usually go that way. But it doesn't really help them in the long run. So it's better to divert around if at all possible, which is always possible. To divert around the negative, metaphorically and psychologically. Around the negative into the positive. If you don't mind, I would like to use a Star Trek metaphor on that aspect. One planet about to explode due to a sun that went right into it, and there's a planet on the other side. That one planet can easily be diverted by starship at a safe distance around as the negative fluctuates within itself before imploding. Therefore, the positive is always a clear, stable planet, if you will. That is a Star Trek metaphor, which the basic starship would easily go to the positive and can easily divert around the negative. Therefore, in a human aspect, you can do the same within yourself and for yourself, and so many others can do the same. But it goes in the belief, confidence, and understanding, truth, understand, and basic love and respect for yourself and within yourself, and belief and trust. Of course, confidence, self-assurance. And with that, man and womankind will extend further beyond even current understandings and beliefs. That will even help humanity expand the understandings of many different things, especially within the universe itself. In a sense of exploration, even as we explore ourselves and within ourselves. Of course, that also takes time. If you want to know more, please let me know. And believe me, I will make another one once I have a clearer base of the other one that I was going to mention, but I didn't. But believe me, I will find ways to bring it in to topic. Have a good day. Live long and prosper.